Yeah, it's going to be hard enough for that place.
So are we taking no annual leave after the footy season? Is that what you're saying? We're working right through till Christmas?
Well,
because that's what it sounds like.
Jumping straight into the Code NRL show, Dave Riccio, Newcastle's favourite fan at the moment.
Yes.
You're doing very well up there.
Yes.
What's going on at the Knights at the moment? It seems they just lurch from one issue to another at the moment.
Yeah, the byproduct of losing games. The spotlight is on that football club, and we see it. We see it routinely. As I said, when you're not going well, everything's under the microscope. Let's talk about the coaching situation first. We wrote in yesterday's telly and on the Code Sports platforms in relation to Adam O'Brien and his future. My understanding is that he will see the season out, and only a catastrophic collapse in performances and the style of performances would lead to an early exit from Adam O'Brien, and not discounting the possibility of actually sticking around again next year as well. The Knights hierarchy are cognizant of the fact that they're missing their key players, right? And O'Brien's got to fight for his career without Kalen Ponga, without Fletcher Sharp, without Dylan Lucas and Adam Elliott as well on the sidelines. And it's about what the performances look like. They led 8-6 last weekend at half-time against the Melbourne Storm, and obviously the Storm ran over the top of the Knights in the end. Really interested to see how the fans react, and how much support there is on Sunday. I'm pretty sure it's Sunday, against the Warriors, and also the performance, given the roster that he's got to pick from up there.
Readie, do those mitigating factors work for you?
Well, I think that aligned with the fact he's made the finals 4 out of 5 years. I think that's important to remember as well. With Adam O'Brien, he sort of took over that club when it was in a bit of a funk, and he dragged them out of it. I think when you put all that together, I think he at least deserves to start next season. I think he should start next season as a coach. And look, if they start poorly next season, I can understand Newcastle moving on. But I think he's done enough to warrant, done enough in conjunction with the injury problems they've had this year to warrant going around again next season, at least starting next season. I'm not sure if they go down that path. I think it depends how they finish this year. If they... What have they got, 8 games? How many games have they got? Seven?
Seven games. There's a bye in there.
If they get belted 7 times, well, I mean, his position's almost untenable, right? But if they're competitive, win a couple of games, you've got no Kalen, no Fletcher Sharp, no Dylan Lucas now. That's 3 of their 5 best players. Yeah. If they can turn around, win a few games, hold their head up, hold their gloves up, compete, I think that should be enough to ensure that he starts next season.
There's an element in the room there's an element of the room also in relation to next season, in what do we look like as a footy team with Dylan Brown, Fletcher Sharp, Kalen Ponga, Dom Young, Bradman Best.
Kalen Ponga?
Yeah, we'll get the Ponga in a sec, but that's a really good back line. I'm worried about their forwards, but it's a really good back line.
But that leads me to my next question about if you make a coaching change when you have committed a plan around Dylan Brown coming to the club and potentially playing that 7 role, which we have a bit of questions about, you are now hamstringing a new coach to a previous regime's plan.
Yep.
Not if your new coach is already at the club, in Blake Green. Obviously, he's been linked with the job, right? He's your attack coach, very highly regarded up there amongst the officials at the club. So, I mean, that only applies if you go outside the club to get a head coach, right, Mobbsy? And we've all heard the names, Hannay and Willie Peters and those sort of guys. But if you go internal, then that's not such a big factor.
Is there a lot of difference in that if you move on Adam and bring Blake Green in? Is that such a monumental change? So things aren't so fundamentally bad at the Knights if you're making that change?
Well, exactly, yeah. I think... they're different personalities, though.
I think it's too simple to say that Blake Green's the attack coach currently at the Knights, and we're going to promote him up, and therefore the attack's going to be the same when Blake's in charge. The transformation from assistant to head coach is vastly different. Suddenly, all the decisions are yours. He's providing certainly a heavy imprint on the current Knights attack, but ultimately it's Adam's say. It is Adam O'Brien's overarching point of view of how the Knights want to play. And Blake can only provide so much support and input before the head coach, and I'm not just talking about Blake and Adam here, it's across the game. The head coach has the say.
Yeah.
And I think it's too it's a ill-informed point of view to think that Blake Green won't have his own thoughts and processes as a head coach, which is different as an assistant coach.
Are we being too heavy on O'Brien? Because before he got there, the previous 6 years, they did not make the finals. 3 wooden spoons. He's made the finals 4 of the 5 seasons. They won't make it this year. And they haven't gone past the second week of the finals under him. But that's a pretty good improvement, right?
Well, I said that. I think they've been decent on his watch. They've had a red hot go, and as you said, played finals 4 times. So I understand why he's under pressure, because they haven't played well this season. At times, they've been pretty awful. But I at least think he deserves to start next season with a fit squad, a fit roster. Let's see how they go next year with him in charge. And as I said, if they don't start well, make the move, make the change, right? Because if you're going to go with Blake Green's going to be there next year anyway. It's not as if you're going to miss out on Blake Green. I can't imagine, the other clubs that have got pressure on at the moment, the Titans and Cowboys. That's a Hannay, Willie Peters fight, I would imagine. So, I think they can afford to be a bit patient.
Yep.
Kalen Ponga's contracted to the end of 2027. Why are we discussing him leaving early?
Yeah.
Well, because Rugby's sniffing around him, or he's sniffing around them. One of the two. We haven't really got to the bottom of how this has worked yet, because obviously the Pongas have been pretty quiet about it all. I've exchanged some texts with them, Mobbsy, but I'm no sort of clearer on how this has unfolded. But obviously there's an agent, a New Zealand-based agent, who's been sourcing interest in Kalen. There's obviously that big Rebel Rugby comp, R360, his name's on their radar, French Rugby Union clubs. That's why we're talking about Kalen Ponga right now. And that'll get thrashed out in the next few days.
I think with Kalen, there's always going to be noise. I really do. I think he's just he's a superstar, and he's at a struggling club, and when you're a superstar, you want to find your best avenue of success, and also too, he doesn't struggle to find a big salary elsewhere either. So I think the noise will always be there, even if this gets clarified from the Knights' point of view. I still think we'll be talking about Kalen Ponga's future in another 12 months.
Yeah. Well, I think regardless of if he stays now, when tells the club he wants to stay now, I think that down the track Rugby's clearly on his radar. I think it has been for a long time. I don't think that's going to go away, and I think you're right, Dave. I think, we might put it to bed now, but it's going to rear its head again down the track. What's interesting is if Kalen turns to that club and says, look, I want to leave, I want to go play rugby, what the club does.
Yeah.
That's the interesting one for me, because they're within their rights to say, no, you've got a deal. But big money, the past 2 seasons had Liz Frank injuries that have ruled him out for extended periods. You could argue they haven't really got their money worth, given the injury problems. They can, as we mentioned before, they need forwards. They've got no money to spend, so it's an interesting position for them.
Well, it would be a horrible position, I think, because come November 1, when they'll be looking to, if they let Kalen Ponga go, now you've got the Perth Bears coming in. So it's just going to be a feeding frenzy on that free agency market. So it's the worst possible time for this to happen to the Knights. And not that it's ever a great time to be contemplating losing Kalen Ponga, but it's going to be hard enough for that place.
So are we taking no annual leave after the footy season? Is that what you're saying? We're working right through till Christmas?
Well,
because that's what it sounds like.
It's going to be frantic.
Well,
it's going to be. I reckon the market movement will be
November 1,
like we haven't seen before.
Be crazy. Well, Perth's just going to throw a whole new spanner in the works, isn't it? Big Mel's going to be out there trying to raid everyone. So
Well, I think you'll see a busy few months now of players trying to be locked up by clubs.
So a lot of clubs retaining their talent in preparation for Perth.
And then there's Rugby Union, this rebel comp that's out there fossicking around rugby league as well. So there's a bit going on.
St George Illawarra had a reunion for the 2010 Grand Final winning team. Did anyone show up? Was anyone invited? What's going on here?
Well, there were a few there, but not many. The coach
many.
wasn't there. I spoke to Wayne yesterday, and Wayne said he had no idea it was happening. No one spoke to him, which is a bit of an oversight.
How does that happen?
I don't. I think they're trying
Was
to
it a formal reunion? Was it official?
well, clearly
How
not.
does the head coach not get informed that this is on?
Yeah. And
Former
he might
head-
not be able to get there,
former head
Wayne,
coach.
because South said the bye and he was back in Queensland.
You
I
can
think.
get to
Well, he
Wayne.
probably would have got there, actually.
What about a third party having to reach out to Jamie Sauer to get his contact details to invite him when he was working at the club as
Last year.
Yeah, last year. What is going on at this
It's a
joint?
bit of a schmozzle.
It sounds very informal to me.
I've got to say, though, it sums up this club at the moment. It sums up why their new CEO, Tim Watford, he's got a big job on his hands. And he's aware of that. He knows he's got a big job because this club's a bit dysfunctional. And I've said it before, Mobbsy, I don't think they're a big club anymore. I think the St George Illawarra, that St George brand, the Red V, huge club in this, huge history in this game. They're not a big club anymore. Well, there's nothing about them that's appealing. If you're a player, if you've got a choice between St George and Melbourne or the Penrith or the Roosters or South, or man, they're at the bottom of your list.
Yep.
And this is what Tim Watford, and Tim's a really good operator. I've met him. He's a smart guy, and he wants to make change. And he knows that this club's off the rails. And their chairman Andrew Lancaster, again, really smart guy, right? They know what they've got to do to fix this joint up. But it's an immense job because they're not an attractive club anymore.
Yeah, but that in counter to that, that's why, and I've always said it, they need to harness their juniors and focus on the players and pathways players that want to be a Dragon. And we're starting to see it. There are some guns coming through. Hamish
keep
Stewart,
them though, Dave.
Hamish
That's the
Stewart,
thing.
Dylan. Yeah, got to keep them. Hamish Stewart, Dylan Egan, just a couple to mention. That's where their strength is. The Red V. Bring them through. And harness them and make it, to your point, make it a place where they want to stay. They've got some work to do.
What about, is it just joint ventures that haven't worked? West Tigers and George Illawarra Dragons just...
West Tigers won a comp.
So did St George Illawarra.
St George Illawarra, yeah.
I think
years ago now.
They're the exceptions, not the rules,
perennial
though.
underachievers, both of them,
They
ever
are,
since.
yeah.
Ever since. Have they worked? No. How can you possibly say they've worked? No, they haven't.
Yeah.
Not with the consistency of failure. If these two teams were consistent finals teams, I would say absolutely. But we have the West Tigers playing out of 3 different grounds. We see their consistent results.
Their board's a bit...
Their board's always up.
Their ownership's a bit dysfunctional.
Upheaval.
Yeah.
I think for rugby league, and we're seeing it with the Bulldogs, as soon as the NRL gets a West Tigers firing, we are going to see incredible scenes and support for rugby league that we have. West Tigers fans are crying, absolutely crying out for success, and it's a case of when. When is the penny going to drop for this footy club to get it right? Yeah. And it's why the releases of Lockie Galvin and Talon Silva drive Tigers fans nuts, because yet again the page turns and we go, how did we were so close, we were getting there, and now they're letting another 2 guns go, and I hate to say it, but I don't think they have worked. I hope they work in time.
What's the alternative though? We've gone down that path. There's no. You can't peel it back now. You've just got to find a way to make it succeed. Yeah. Because you're right, Dave. They're huge clubs, and the Tigers in particular. Like if they ever get it right, they are going to be massive. So you've just got to somehow try to find a way to make it work, because there's no option. You can't pull them apart now.
But a lot of it's out of their own hands, right? Because there's not going to be the funding that they need for places like Campbelltown.
Well, I reckon they'll get the money for Campbelltown. Mobbsy is the tip that they're going to get some money to fix up Campbelltown. Yeah, so I think they're going to stay there because I think they'll find the funding for it. And they've got money for Leichhardt. But Dave's got a point. I mean, don't get me started on Leichhardt. We're going to go there on Sunday. Okay. I'm going to drive my bulldozer there.
Wow.
That's how I'm going to get to the ground. Don't start me on that joint. But they're intent on staying there.
Can you drive in on your John Deere?
Yeah. Can I park?
Can
I just
Tigers
keep
fans
driving.
please
The bloke
say
will
hello to
park
Readie
here,
out
and
there.
I'll keep going straight through the grandstand.
Keep an eye out
But
for a
that's-
guy coming in with a hard hat on.
But that's part of the issue, right? Dave's right. They're playing at all these different grounds. I mean, fair income.
The centre of excellence is at Concord.
Yeah,
There's
but
another
that's okay
venue.
if you're just playing at one ground, right? If you just play at Combank.
This is where the Dragons do
It's
have
a long way from Campbelltown, though, if you're a junior.
Yeah, well, it is, but
This is where the
at least they
Dragons
make
have
a
a
lot of money
slight
there.
head start, a slight advantage on the joint venture debate. With their new centre of excellence being built down in Wollongong, they train predominantly at Wynn Stadium in Wollongong, only do their captain's runs at Cogra during a Cogra game. Train out of Wollongong at this new centre of excellence, effectively call the South Coast home, and I think that's so important for the Dragons. They're not this transient up to Cogra one day, back to Wollongong the next. And I think that's where they might have a little advantage over the Tigers.
Rugby League 26 is live. Fans are all over it. Much highly anticipated game. And, well, someone gets an early sneak peek. So we
Yeah.
go
Got to start
gamer.
yesterday.
We
Played
get to do Readie's review. You took on the Hectic Cheese.
The Hectic Cheese took on Brandon Smith. He carved me up deluxe. Mind you, I was just getting used to the controllers. I was the Broncos, of course. It was 0-0, made an early break. Reece Walsh through, couldn't catch him over the try line. Went to put the ball down and kicked it over the dead ball line instead. So I was still, that would give me a 6-0 lead.
You did a read
6-0
money.
lead. He wasn't coming back after that, but he ended up flogging me. No, it was good. It was pretty cool. I never played the old rugby league games. I'm more a FIFA guy. I've always played FIFA. But the graphics are amazing. Like some of the likenesses, Nathan Cleary, Teddy, some of those guys, Payne Haas, the likenesses on these guys, they've done a really good job on that front.
Nice. How did you go against Michael Carianis?
He towed me up. He's a gamer, man. He
He's
used to
a
play the
gamer.
old rugby league games. Come on, man.
Yeah.
I did see video of Tyrell Sloan cutting through your Broncos defence to score, and under your breath may have muttered something along the lines of, "It's about time the Dragons won something."
I could have said that, yeah. Oh, no.
Yeah, the boys.
Who was that? Oh, Sloan, he's lightning.
Too good.
Sloan. About time the Dragons won something. Anyway, no, it was good fun. It's pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
It's going gangbusters, apparently.
Well, the
Dave,
massive-
you had some stat on that, didn't you?
Did I? Oh, yeah, no, I didn't have a stat.
Oh.
But no, and some insight. Grand Theft Auto were due to bring out their 2025 version of new version. They've pushed it back 12 months because they know that this Rugby League 26
yeah.
will be so hot. You know?
Yeah.
In saying that, I haven't gamed since my Sega Master System 2.
Oh, wow.
Alex Kidd in Miracle World.
Oh my God.
Jeepers creepers.
Wow.
What's doing?
So,
Can
yeah.
we just pause while the young kids here go and Google what Dave's talking about so we can figure this out?
Came after the Atari.
Well, similar to FIFA, you've got your ratings which come from different tributes for attributes for players. So I want to run through a few with you. I'm going to go through the top 10 just to see who you agree and disagree with. Nathan Cleary at the top, 93.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yep.
93. Do you think he deserves a bit higher?
I think so.
93
Well, I think
peak mark?
93 is. I think that's about as high as you. If you look at FIFA, I reckon 93 is about as high as you go.
Dylan Brown been named on the bench for the Eels a week after being shifted to hooker to make way for Joash Papali as Jason Riles comes good on his promise to plan for the future and a future that is without Dylan Brown. Am I being overly dramatic? Has Dylan Brown played his last game at Parramatta given the fact that he's gone with Papali and Dean Hawkins and you've got a fella by the name of Mitch Moses set to come back into this team?
Yeah, I don't think we're there yet, Mobbsy, because you just don't know what's going to happen with injuries and suspensions. If these are the players to be picked from for the rest of the year, I think you've got a point. I think you've got a genuine point. But injuries and suspensions still to come. And there's no feeling inside Parramatta that let's just put a big black line through Dylan Brown. They don't have that animosity towards him. And likewise he wants to be at the club and try and help the club through this final period. I think it's a great call. I rate it. I rate it from Jason Riles in the way that he's forward thinking, getting the runs on the board and taking some pain. Now, I still remember Nathan Brown at the Newcastle Knights debuting the Saifidi brothers. And they were raw as anything at the time. The Knights were running last. And like they're big bruises to cop when you're a front rower in a losing team. But Brown always knew that these kids had something and that they had to learn somehow And that was the learnings then that created their path to the NRL. And I think there's a genuine element of that right now. They don't know what Joe Ash has entirely got as a football player, but let's see it right now.
Yeah, I'm with you, Dave. I think it's smart by Rolsey. I think Dylan will play again because I think Dylan's taken it really well. When Rolsey sat down with him and explained to him the situation, Dylan was obviously given the opportunity to leave. He said, I don't want to go, I want to finish the season here. Rolsey said, well, I can't guarantee you'll play. And Dylan was fine with that. We've all dealt with Dylan. He's a likeable, relaxed sort of guy, and he's not going to cause drama for them if he doesn't play. But I think he will play again at some point because, as Frank's phone goes off, I think he will play again at some point because, as Dave said, they'll have injuries. They'll shuffle things around. Rolsey wants to try things. So I think he'll get an opportunity again. But the good news is he won't kick up a stink if he doesn't, by the sounds of it. So that's the good thing for Rolsey. And it's, as Dave said, smart by Rolsey because Dylan's not part of their future. And they need to find out who will be part of their future and who can play alongside Mitch Moses.
Yeah, because rather than hit that free agency market, which they may end up doing, but giving Papali that opportunity, he's come across from Canterbury. He's played a bit of 5'8" before, played 5'8", fullback. I think debuted on the wing with a HIA a few weeks ago that brought him on that field off the bench early. So they got to see what he can deliver, and it's going to be interesting when Mitchell Moses returns to see how that partnership goes, because that could be a little glimpse into the future for the Eels. If you're a Knights fan and Dylan Brown didn't take up the opportunity to kickstart his decade-long Knights career early, where does that leave you? How do you feel about that?
Well, I think it's two things, Mobbsy. I think look, the Knights argue that they didn't have the salary cap space to bring him in straight away, but there's no denying Parramatta said, Dylan, you're free to go before June 30. Go for your life and get this thing started. And he declined that. Now, whether he declined that because the Knights couldn't fit him in, that's for others to judge. But
I don't think it's a reflection on the Knights. I think he wanted to stay and finish his time at Parramatta.
Yeah,
he's been in the club a long time, got good relationships there, and I think he probably wanted to go out on the right note rather than just getting up and leaving mid-season.
I think it would make sense to go get a head start, though, Readie.
Well, I don't know.
Why? He's going there for 10 years.
Yeah, I know that, but why the rush? Just get there just finish the time at Parramatta. He owes that club to finish the season. I think he owed that club to finish the season with them. He owed those players. I think,
particularly
I was trying to put myself in that position, Dave, and if I'm in a club like he's been for that long and they're my mates there, I want to finish the season with them and finish it in the right way with them, rather than getting up, packing up, moving mid-year.
Well, Readie, he might not finish the season with them. He might finish in reserve.
Well, he might do, but at least he'll be around them, training with them and with his mates. I think you want to. For me, I understand why he's decided to go that path. It's the same reason Kai Pearce-Ball stayed at Newcastle when he had the opportunity to potentially go to the West Tigers, right? And the Knights, I think, said, oh, "Mate, we prefer he didn't go," and he stayed because they've been there a few years and they want to finish it on the right note at the club they're at, and I don't have an issue with that.
Well, he'll be 18th man. He won't play reserve grade this week, Dylan Brown, so hasn't been named in Cup. So
no,
I don't think he's going to be dropped per se.
No.
It'll be interesting to see how the next couple of weeks play out. With the return of those guys. So interesting. Another big call: Roosters Sharks this week, and the injury to Hugo Savala couldn't have come.
Wrist injury.
Yeah, wrist injury. We thought Sandon Smith might return, but overlooked for Chad Townsend, who hasn't played first grade in a good couple of months.
Since April. Wow. Yeah, hasn't played since April, Chatty. Certainly a surprise, given that what Sandon was basically given the keys to hold the fort of the Roosters while Sam Walker was out. And in the last 2 weeks, he's been, see you later, Sandon. And overlooked now by Chad, who gets somewhat of a homecoming against the Sharks on Friday night. Cracking game, so important for both clubs. It's going to be fascinating to see how the Townsend-Walker combo comes together, because if you actually think back, when Townsend was signed by the Roosters and prior to Sam suffering the torn ACL, that was always the plan. that Chad would come in and help partner Sam and help his progression. And then he tore his ACL and obviously Sandon had to come in. So, look, he's experienced, no doubt, in the world, Chatty. Like, he's been playing Cup. He can come in and do a job, but this is the first time we'll see the combo at play between Walker and Townsend.
Big one at the West Tigers on Sunday with Taylor May making his NRL return. So, train and trial deal, offered an opportunity. Big turnaround from a couple of months ago when he couldn't have been further away from first grade, right?
Well, he was in a psychiatric ward getting treatment for all manner of things, Taylor May. At that time, I don't think any club would have even considered signing him. He obviously met with the Tigers once he got his life in order. He met with South City, two of their facilities. His brothers at Terrell's at obviously the Tigers. And as you said, he's on a train and trial deal. I think it pays him about $1,400 a week he gets for that. But now he gets a match payment as well. It's another $3,000 in his pocket. And he's
all about the numbers, Readie.
He's a game and a half into his comeback. Like, he's only played 40 minutes. He played 40 minutes one week in New South Wales Cup, split time with Amasi Makasini. Last week he played the full match, scored 3 tries. He's straight back in first grade.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know he's a talented footballer.
Undoubted talent.
Got great ability. And he was going to play first grade at some point this year. It's happened quicker than I think many of us expected.
We're all going to be watching Taylor and how he plays, but ultimately what his availability and signing now and promotion to the NRL has done is it's given flexibility for Benji to play with his spine and move Adam Dewey around and get Adam Dewey closer to the ball at 13.
I like this move.
Yeah.
You don't, do you?
Well, I wanted to see Adam at fullback. Because look, ultimately he's going at 13. He's going to get his hands on the ball, of which is why I wanted him at fullback.
Yeah.
I think his last 2 weeks have been superb for the Tigers. 2 tries against the Warriors, and the week before he was huge for Latu Finu and straightening the attack up against the Roosters. But basically, May's availability has been able. They probably look more threatening now. Not so much on what May can do, but what the May decision has done to the rest of the team.
It's interesting to see how this works because Adam likes his hands on the ball, right? You've got Jerome Luai and Latu Fanu there.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see how they gel and whether they're fighting over the ball, basically. I guess what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
How they're going to work out who gets the ball and on what occasion.
Well, 2 weeks ago against the Roosters, Adam Dewey said to Latu, "You worry about nothing except running the footy, and I'll look after the fifth tackle plays and kicking game." All right. So to your point, Readie, this Sunday, he's a commanding voice. He's a good organiser. He's got experience. Adam Dewey. There might be moments where it is actually Luai and Dewey being the kick options, the last tackle options.
Yeah.
And Latu just playing a bit of a more freelance footy.
He's playing for his future too, Adam. Off contract at the end of the year. Talking to the Tigers, so he's got himself in the shop window in a new
Good
position.
timing.
Right, we're 7 rounds, round 20. We've got 7-8 weeks to go. I'll give you a little scenario. The Raiders are first on 32 points.
Then look at my ladder while you do this.
Well, you go down to the Seagulls, Roosters, Sharks. They're 7th, 8th and 9th. They're all on 22. Then you have the Dolphins, who are in 10th place on 20 points, and the Dragons back in 11th on 18. So,
see, Mobbsy, I think you don't look at points because there's bias factored in. I think you look at wins. And if you going on what you're saying, it's a similar scenario though. The Dolphins are on 8 wins. Right?
So don't look at it, but it
no, don't
kind
look
of
at points. Look at
up.
wins.
Okay.
They're on 8 wins, and then it drops to the Dragons on 6 wins. I think that's the more crucial side of this.
You need wins.
You've got to win footy games.
And breaking news.
So, what's the question?
The question is, well, you probably
What's the top 8? Who's gone? Dragons.
question
They're all
is,
gone.
Well,
Dragons are gone.
Is it a race?
Yeah,
Is it a
Dragons are
race
gone.
intent?
Please, the Dragons have been gone for weeks.
Dolphins.
You watched them play?
Dolphins?
No, the Dolphins are still in the mix. I think 10 and up are in the mix.
How many wins for our Dolphins then?
Dolphins are on 8 wins.
8 wins.
8 wins, and then drops to the Dragons on 6 wins. So I think all those sides on 6 wins, and there's a million of them. There's Dragons, Cowboys, Knights, Tigers, Rabbitohs are all on 6 wins.
Gonski.
They're all Gonski. Eels 5 wins, way gone. Titans, forget about them, right? They're on 4 wins. So I think you've got to have 8 wins now, or you're out of the race. So it's Dolphins up. You're right.
So 2 teams are going to miss out in that top 10 there that we're
that's
talking
intriguing,
about.
isn't it?
So where do you see this little race to the finals going?
Manly's run home isn't great.
Okay.
They fall out for me.
Oh, that's a good one.
I think the Dolphins make it, actually. I reckon the Roosters might fall out. I don't know, I've death-ridden them all season. I reckon Robbo's done a great job with them this year, given... Oh, hold on.
Oh, hang on.
Travis Main, go away, son. I reckon Robbo's done a great job all year, but I think maybe they slip out.
Yeah.
And then I reckon maybe... Manly or the Dolphins would be fighting over the other spot.
Yeah.
I don't know which one.
I would say the Sharks game against the Roosters is huge, of which it's significant. But after the Roosters, their draw opens right up.
Yeah.
Sharks?
Yep.
Okay.
It's all those guys, all those teams you wrote off down the bottom.
Okay. Well, they got a good draw.
So that's
Good
where
on.
I think they get in.
Well, Manly could be in trouble then, by the sounds of it.
Yeah. And then you've got the top four, obviously, with the Raiders, who you don't look at points, you look at wins who've got 14 wins ahead of everyone else has got 12. So it says to we've got a bye to come as well.
Minor premiership.
So, minor premiership, baby. First time since 1990.
Wow.
Able to do that.
I think they're home in the minor premiership race.
Yeah.
I think anyone
that's
will
what
catch
we're
them.
saying.
Well, the
Yeah,
Melbourne
no, you're
Storm,
right.
the Melbourne Storm have a very tough run. They're playing they're playing top 8 sides.
Storm,
the whole way through. So they've got a really tough few weeks ahead.
They're a reasonable footy team, though.
Yeah. But there's no buys. They've had all their buys now. It's unrelenting footy. And I mean, you have a look at that back line this weekend with Pappenhausen out with the calf injury.
Where's Warbrick at, Reed, man?
He's still a few weeks away.
Yeah.
Just had lingering effects from a concussion. It's just been carrying on and carrying on. And
it's concerning.
Well, it's very well, I think they were really concerned a few months ago, but I think they think he's on the road back now, and he'll be back soon.
That's good.
So they've still got him to come back. Suafa'alongo, you mentioned Paps. They've got some guys to come back into that.
They get it right.
Hard to toss.
Yep.
Just one question on this with the top four. The Warriors on 28 points.
Dream
Sorry,
draw.
hold on. The Warriors on 11 wins.
Correct.
The Broncos on 10 wins. There's 4 points difference. The Penrith back on 8 wins.
What's the Broncos run like?
Can
you
the
done
Warriors
Mixed bag. Warriors have got the absolute dream draw.
Can the Warriors do a Gay Waterhouse trained desert war with Nash Rawiller and just lead from the front and stave off the challenge there? Hold on to that 4th spot.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, because of their draw, Mobbsy.
I'll tell you what, Broncos draw. Okay, they play the Storm twice. And they play the Dolphins.
The Warriors don't have that.
Para, South, Newcastle Cowboys.
Yep, not bad, but they've got the Melbourne Storm twice.
Yeah, that's tough.
And a bye, did you say?
But the Storm might rest players in that final round game as well, which they've done in the past.
Yeah,
so maybe they might.
I'll have the Warriors.
The Warriors might have to win 6 of their 7 games that are left to hold on to that spot.
Don't underestimate the impact of Tanner Boyd on that team. He's very different to Luke Metcalf, and he's obviously been playing reserve grade all year, but it's a pretty good outfit there, and if he can fit into that role like he did last weekend and do his job and just organise that team, Andrew Webster's got him in a pretty good spot.
So I'm looking at their draw. They got the Titans twice.
Yeah.
What a rort. There's 4 points in the bag.
That's what I'm saying, Reed, man.
Unbelievable. That's 2. Sorry, not 4 points. That's 2 wins in the
2
bag.
wins, baby.
Dead set Titans twice. Wouldn't you be doing cartwheels?
Oh. We might sign off on that. That's outstanding. Apologies to all our Gold Coast audience.